everybody, welcome back to another video. My name is Smart Money Mo, and in today's video I'll be doing an educational breakdown of Gbpnzd, and I'm going to be going through the analysis I made, resulting in me getting a 1 to 35 risk to reward trade, 235 pips call, and a very small stop loss of 7 pips. I also quickly want to mention that I appreciate all the support and love from my previous video, and anyone who is intrigued in learning more, please don't hesitate to contact me on Telegram or Instagram. Lastly, I want to announce that I will be releasing my full Smart Money Concepts course very soon, including an explanation to how I trade using order blocks, Wyckoff, liquidity, and also market structure. So stay tuned for that. Now without further ado, let's get right into the video. As I mentioned before, this was a trade on Gbpnzd, and I'll go through my thought process on how I managed to gain the sniper entry and how I took this trade, working my way down from the weekly through the daily, 4 hourly, and then getting my entry on the 1 minute and the 5 minutes. I'll quickly show you my entry, which was right here, 135, 235 pips, as I'll show you right here, roughly around 235 pips, and a 7 pip stop loss. Now, we'll start my analysis. I'll delete everything off this chart and we'll go directly to the weekly. Now, let me just explain what I'm doing on the weekly. On the weekly, I'm trying to look for my overall market structure because the higher time frame is what to follow. So what did I spot? I spotted this weekly POI, and I'll mark it out right now as our weekly POI. What does this tell me? This tells me that I should only be looking for sells as of now, and it indicates to me that what market and price will be doing after this weekly POI is going to be bearish, and so I should only be looking for sells. And so this weekly POI indicated that to me. Now I've finished my analysis on the weekly, I'll go down to the daily. On the daily, what did I see? I saw another POI reinforcing the idea of only taking sells, and I marked up this POI right here, and I called it our daily POI. Let me just refine this right to that candle. Alright, now what did we see? We saw reaction off the one off of this order block, and then the market continued to go down. And so now I should be looking I should be spotting our current OBs. So if I just replay this market to around here, just to ignore that. Okay, now what did I see? I saw 2 or 3 main order blocks. I saw this order block over here, and this order block right here, which I will then refine. So why did I not trade off of this order block? First of all, when price left the order block zone, I saw that price went back into it and mitigated all of the losses that had already been formed at the order block. So this order block was no longer a trading opportunity to trade off of. So I deleted this one, and then I was interested in this one because I knew if I refined it, I could possibly look at another supply zone within the order block. And like I said, I found one right here. So if I just mark this out as our order block, what did I see? I saw this was a very clean order block, firstly because there was no clean mitigation, because if we go here, it tried to go back up, it failed to, and so there was no mitigation, there was no wicks back into the zone. Like for example here, it did not wick back into it, did not go back into it, and so this order block was not mitigated, and there was still trading opportunities to come from this order block. Now, why is this order block valid? We'll go on to the 4 hourly and we'll make sure that it is valid, and I'll walk you through how I knew it was valid. First of all, it was pro trend. That is always what matters. It's pro trend. The order block is bearish, and like I said before, from the weekly I was indicated that we should only be looking for bearish order blocks. What else did I see? I saw this high area of bearish pressure that indicates to me that smart money is getting involved and this order block is trade worthy. And lastly, we do look for a break of structure. However, the break of structure on this one wasn't particularly clear, but I'll explain why this actually helped me out with this trade and helped me control my emotions and set targets and take profits. But for now, that is the order block that I spotted on the 4 hourly, on the 1 hourly. Now let's get into entries, how I got my entries, and go on to the lower time frame confirmations. Now, if I just reset this market to about over here, where the order block was was getting hit. If we go down to the 5 minute, what did I see? We saw one mitigation, then we saw price reach back up for a second area of mitigation. Now if I go to the 1 minute, what did I see? I saw some Wyckoff distribution. Now that further tells me that this order block is even more tradeworthy, because now we know for a fact the banks are getting involved. And I'll quickly run through this Wyckoff. So if I just go to like the 2 minute, sorry, 2 minute, and what did I see? I saw first of all so now I'm going to go through the Wyckoff distribution schematic. What did I see? I saw our preliminary supply, our buyer's climax, our after rally, and then our secondary test. Now why is this secondary test important? Because it accumulated liquidity at this area, and banks do this on purpose in order to grab liquidity of retail traders and place their trades. So the banks probably placed a 20 million sell here, and then what did it, because they were able to grab the liquidity of the retail traders who were then trading off of this area of retail resistance. So when they were trading off of it, banks pushed price, breaking this structure, grabbing the liquidity, then opened their sells. And now we'll go through that again. Preliminary supply, buyer's climax, after rally, secondary test, and then we have our up thrust. Then we see price go back down, then forms our UTAD, breaking all structures to the upside. You see this structure is broken to the upside by this UTAD. And then we had our supply zone formed around this area, and we had our touch of our supply zone, and then we saw price go back even, then we saw price go down. Now you're probably wondering if I did get my entry off this Wyckoff. Unfortunately I didn't, because I waited a bit too long, and I was becoming really patient, and I was kind of waiting for a much more refined entry. However, I waited for too long and I missed this movement. But nevertheless, I did get an entry, which was an amazing entry. Now what did I do? I had missed this initial entry, but I did not lose hope. I looked for a second area, a second supply zone where I could potentially enter from. That was a good supply zone, and that was this supply zone right here. So I marked out this supply zone, I refined it a little bit, I go down to the 5 minute, refine it a bit more, right to that candle, and I traded off of this supply zone, firstly because there was a break of structure to the downside. We had this clear break of structure to the downside, so this supply zone was valid. We had our bearish momentum, and also because it was straight after Wyckoff distribution, telling me that, you know, the banks are involved and we were looking for sells. So I got my entry in right off of the 0.5 of this order block, set my stop loss right above this high, and then we'll talk about take profits. So if we just play this market, my initial targets were around here, but I'll take you through the partials and how I managed to control my risk throughout this trade. I think stop loss was roughly lower around there. Okay, cool. Now we'll just play this market and see what happened. As you can see, price plummeted down. Now we will go through my take partials and how I managed to control risk throughout this trade. Now before we get into that, I'll just mention that we did have this 7 pip stop loss, and I only managed to get this 7 pip stop loss because I managed to get off this clean supply zone, and the supply zone helped me get that sniper entry. Now that was basically what enabled this high risk to reward trade, that stop loss. Now in terms of controlling the trade, I set certain take profits to partial throughout the trade. So we'll have take profit 1, which was at this bullish order block. Now I set my take profit 1 here, and I use this to secure some profits in case some sort of reversal will happen or some sort of news influence the market in the way that I didn't want it to. Sorry, be influenced. Now I set my second take partial right at this area of structure, because it was a bullish order block, and there is always a small chance that the market could reverse off of a bullish order block, even though it is highly unlikely. Now lastly, I set my third take profit right over here, which was right before the push upwards. So I managed to secure a nice amount of profits before this push upwards, which was great because I set it right at the zero of this bullish order block, and what happened? It reversed around it. Now I've secured some profits. Let's talk about take profits, overall take profits. I just go down to the 1 hour. What did I see? Before, do you remember how I said when we look for our breaker structure for this order block, it unfortunately didn't break structure to the downside? You could say this was a breaker structure, but I wouldn't say it was a valid enough breaker structure. Now, I wanted to hold until this breaker structure, so my take profit was actually a little bit lower, and so I only done this because I had seen that there was so much liquidity gathered around this area, and you can see here, bang, one touch, another touch, another touch. What this tells me is retail traders are trading off of this support, and so the banks may be looking to push price down below this area, and so this helped me set my take profit at this area comfortably, knowing that it will most likely be here. And what happened? It did get here, and we got this beautiful trade. Now, that was the overall trade with Gbpnzd, and I hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you're looking for more trade breakdowns, or maybe you're looking for a video on Wyckoff or anything else, market structure, please let me know in the comments, and like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Shout out 808 my love.